What was he saying? What did he say? How did he change the fortunes of the team? Because first half, we were sitting there, we look at each other going, I don't quite know what Sporting are doing. They look well off it. Is it because City are playing so well, or what? Or have they frozen on this night? But second half, the energy they came out with, how aggressive they were right up against the City players, and City didn't have an answer for it. And the way they got their goals, some fantastic football, not just relying on individual brilliance, by the way, teamwork, structure, creating the pathway to some of these goals.
Yeah, listen, we're going to show you all the goals, loads to pick apart from that match. We'll analyse exactly how Rúben did that. And
It's not good match, especially Bournemouth side, that they were much better. The other team, the first half was really good. From my point of view, we score a goal and we create a lot, but every pass, the simple things we miss sometimes, they can run and they punish us a little bit, and after, it can happen as initial for the second half, and after the third and the fourth, we have to avoid it. So emotionally, we were not stable enough, and this competition had to be stable. The 2-1 is 2-1. Many things, many minutes happen, but we cannot give away the two actions, the third and fourth goal. We have to be emotionally more stable.
Was there a sense of panic, did you feel, in those 44 seconds of the opening of the second half?
Well, what a good action for them. They made a good action, we press good, they make a good movement, they are fast and they score.
You've had to change your defensive line a lot this season through no fault of your own and injuries, but is this perhaps highlighting how important consistency is in a back line?
No, maybe. I don't know, but the young lad play incredible performance. I think Enrico's well, and so when the players more than be consistent, because when you play a lot of games you cannot play with the same lineup or the same back four. The question is that all the season we had the problems from the day one, but it's what it is. So now is a difficult moment in terms of results, but I'm here. I want to be here and I want to fight and not give up. I want harden. I like this challenge that as a manager I have ahead of me, and who want to follow us, they will be there.
Your players haven't been in this position in terms of sort of losing 3 on the bounce in a really long time. Do you think that they find it hard to know how to react and deal with that because they're so used to winning?
Yeah. Why should know it? It's football, so maybe when we live in the past is the exception. So sometimes you can lose, but I think the game in sports was really good, and today as well. But we were in the position that they punish us for the few they do, and we struggle, for the chances that we have, for the last pass, for the last action. We have the first half was, to almost finish the game, and after immediately we are losing 3-1.
Pep, thank you very much for your time.
Rúben Amorim as well, because he joins you guys, Manchester United, 11th of November is his first game. Before we started and before we even saw this game, you played it cool, you're not necessarily 100% sure what to expect. You must be feeling excited after seeing how he can affect a game like that.
Yeah, that's the important part. I was excited by the change and the dynamics of his team in the second half, how aggressive they were, how direct they went, how mobile they looked. They showed fight, they showed resilience, and that's an important. They're important elements that you want him to bring to Manchester United, because we're lacking a lot of that as a team, but also as individuals. So I'm really excited. I'd like to be in the front room or on the WhatsApp group of the current team.
Yeah.
Because after watching that, because they'd have all watched this game. If they didn't, then they're lunatics. You all watch this game to see what he's bringing to the table and what the conversations will be now between those guys like Ra.
Yeah, definitely, because he's obviously installed a lot of belief and confidence into that team in the second half.
And that's lacking at Man United.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Again, tactically, they're not bad players at United, but they are low on confidence. So they're the things that, if I'm looking at that from a player's perspective, I'm thinking, yeah, they're the kind of messages I want to receive at half-time.
He's got a huge... Sorry, you go, yeah.
I'm sitting there probably as one of the players. Sorry, I'm sitting there as one of the players saying, like, why is he not coming tomorrow? Do you know what I mean? Get him here now. Like, I want to feel like the way I'm seeing these players feel at the moment. Can he still inject that into us now? So, listen, I don't want to get carried away, man. But
You do.
You did.
Please do.
A little bit,
Please do, yeah.
You got a little bit excited.
I want some good times back at Manchester United. It's been far too negative and far too depressing of recent years. You want a little bit of sunshine there and a glimmer of hope of something, and hopefully this man can bring that. But listen, it's going to take a long time. I don't think it's an overnight change.
40 days to the Manchester derby, where that man will be in your dugout, and obviously Pep Guardiola in Manchester City.
Pep will be scared.
You know what?
He ain't played sport in Lisbon in 40 days.
In 40 days' time, they would have turned everything around, and we won't even be talking about this probably. But look, it makes for a really interesting fixture, doesn't it? OK, guys, a little bit more to tell you about. We have Bruges, Club Bruges, Aston Villa tomorrow at 5 p.m. That is on TNT Sports 2. Obviously, Aston Villa, great guns in the Champions League, 3 out of 3 wins as well. They'll be looking to kind of stake their claim back. That's because. Look, they kind of tell a different story, really. If you ignore the goals at the top, it looks like it was a very dominant Man City performance. But how clinical for Sporting Lisbon, 6 shots on target, 4 goals from that, and more importantly, a 4-1 win against Manchester City that I don't think we really predicted. We'll get you straight into the analysis and show you exactly how it's done, because it was actually quite a good start and a quick start from Phil Foden, wasn't it?
Yeah, we said in the first half he was probably the standout player. He's been injured and he started the season slow, but he looked like he was back to his somewhere near his best. Again, pressing from the front there, which is a common theme we see with Man City, and then being clinical at the end of it. So it's a clean strike. When keeper, I think, would probably be a bit disappointed when he watches this back.
Yeah, from a defensive point of view, it's not great, but like you said there, Phil playing with a lot of confidence in the first half, drove at the defender, looked to shoot, looked to create the opportunity for himself, and yeah, the keeper must be disappointed. He was probably their worst player over the course of the night.
1-0 up, but they let that slide away. Victor Gyökeres actually had a shot one-on-one with the keeper, messed that up, and it kind of invited a little bit of criticism from us in the studio. But then all of a sudden, the floodgates opened, and this was his equaliser.
Yeah, again, great run, great timing, great pass. Defensively, again, could be a little bit closer to prevent that ball from going through, but again, I'm still not convinced he meant to do this in terms of the finish, but he shows great strength and appetite to get in there, and Ali knows better than me, and he said, once you miss a chance, for a great sign of a great striker is to keep going, probing it, and he did that, and obviously scored a hat-trick.
Yeah. OK, guys, I kind of think that most people obviously expected a bit of a fight back from City in the second half, but it wasn't to be, because there were 20 seconds from the kickoff to the goal, basically 2-1. A second goal for Gyökeres as well. I mean, what happened? This was a lovely goal to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, great move. Again, different mentality. Whatever was said at half-time worked. Playing with confidence, and like Rio said before, this isn't a goal of individual brilliance. This is a team goal. So this will probably be the type of play that will excite the Man United fans, because this is the kind of passage of play, and you can create and you can teach. Hopefully it's hard to execute, but again, the left back had a tough time defensively, but going forward he was outstanding.
The runs, again, the timing, the space between the players, these are all the things that I'm sure the Man United fans watching me go, you know what, right, please let us have a bit of that. But listen, this wasn't plain sailing. First half, Man United fans would have been scratching their heads, I'm sure, and going, hold on a minute, this isn't written about and spoken about this guy. This isn't reflected in what we're watching.
Yeah.
But second half, it was a completely different story, and you have to say again, for a team, we've been in change rooms where first half you feel like you're getting played off the park, come out in the second half, it's hard to change that tide and turn it. But they've done it, and then they blew City away.
You might say it was a supersonic start to the second half, because then they got another goal, this one from a penalty. What happened here, Jolien?
Yeah, again, recovery run from Guardiola, and you could see, and he doesn't recognise where Trincão's going, what foot he's on, what the scenario is. There's no need to make the challenge. Yes, he cuts across him, and midday you need to show a little bit more patience and slow down, really.
You've got to allow Akanji to go 1v1 there. Let Akanji, you know how good Akanji is. Trust your other centre-back and say, listen, I'm going to leave you to it. I'm going to still track back and make it difficult. There's no need to have any contact there. The only thing I can say it will be is panic. For this guy, that's not what he done here. He was cool as you like, confident, but he got 11 goals in 5 games. What else can you have?
He's electric. Let me just show you...
It's getting worse.
It's getting worse. It's been way too much, Laura.
Too much. What about Erling Haaland? Steps up to take a penalty, and you think you know what's going to happen with this one. Speaking of doing too much, like, what happened? He hit the crossbar.
Yeah, again, people are going to argue, was he fortunate to get the pen in the first place, but in the letter of the law now, it's not a natural position. Again, I don't know where the defender's arm should go, but yeah, handball was given. There's an opportunity for City to get back in, but yeah, if it's not given, I don't think anyone's arguing, but it was given.
It's a horrendous penalty. How are they giving that? I don't know.
No?
No chance.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad. Again, I don't think either way was.
You
was
would be
decision.
fuming if
yeah,
you got given against you.
It would be, but there, I think, seen in a closer replay, the ball does sit up a little bit as he puts his planting foot down. He kind of sits up and.
Let's have a look at it again and a closer look at the Haaland penalty, and tell me again overshots.
Yeah, I think as he puts his right foot down next to the ball, it kind of sits the ball right up there, and it creates like a volley technique. So it probably goes higher than he anticipated, because I don't imagine he's going to hit the bar. But yeah, not this view you can't see, but from behind him you can see just here now. He kind of sits up.
You know, Ronaldo used to do that. You know,
Yeah.
he just deliberately try and bounce the ball off a dead ball situation from a free kick to get it up onto a volley to hit it cleaner.
Yeah.
I don't know if Erling will be trying to do that, but sometimes I think these things happen.
Wasn't his day, but Gyökeres completed his night with a hat-trick. And when you're looking at this, you know, we were saying in the first half that there might be some reservations over him. What's your kind of overall thoughts now, seeing this goal?
Well, he scored a hat-trick in the Champions League, so you have to be positive.
Against
I think the recruitment teams in all of the clubs in the Premier League must be scratching their heads to think, how did we let him get away? He was at Coventry. He hasn't had a conventional route. His route to the top hasn't been straightforward. You know what I mean? He was he was at Brighton as a young kid, sold to Coventry, went on loan to Swansea, got back to Coventry, does well, then goes to Sporting Lisbon. It's like he's had a journey where he's had to build himself and create what he is now. And you think to yourself, like, well, how has he been allowed to get out? But all of a sudden we're seeing what he's got now. He's grown into what he is, confidence, the stature he has, the physicality. He might have had to wait for that to come. And now he's today a few times on the halfway line, running in on goal, blowing players away, holding people off. It's going to be interesting because we spoke about before, like managers when they leave clubs, there's always one or two players that think, you know, I've got to take that. That guy knows how I play. That guy everyone can feed off of him maybe. Who is that guy going to be if he's going to take someone from Sporting Lisbon? Now, after the way this guy's been playing in the last few weeks, 11 in 5 games, goals he's scored, is he going to be the number one target for the new manager at Man United?
Yeah, well, look, we will see. We're going to get some City reaction now, because that's the first time in, 6 years? I think 2018 was the last time Manchester City lost 3 in a row, but it's happened tonight, and Bernardo Silva's been speaking to Becky about it.
Bernardo, are you left wondering tonight how you were ahead in that game and it's ended in defeat?
Well, yeah, weird feeling, because I actually thought that we started well the game. We were controlling the game. We were creating chances, and out of nowhere we go to half time with a 1-1. But yeah, we knew how strong they were in the counter. If we lost easy balls, how strong, how quick they were in creating those kind of chances. And then in the beginning of the second half, we just gave them too many opportunities to be there and to score goals. And well, yeah, disappointing, because we're a bit in a dark place right now, and everything looks to be going in the wrong way. Even when we play well, we don't score our chances and we concede too easily. So yeah, definitely we need to look inside, check what we're not doing well, and start being better very quickly. Otherwise, it will be difficult to come back from these losses. Yeah.
Just talk us through those sort of 44 seconds in the opening of the second half.
Well, from what I remember, a good pressing, and out of nowhere they're 1v1 with our keeper. I haven't checked the goal again, but it looked like it was a bit maybe too easy for them to be on a 1v1 situation with our keeper from a good pressing in the beginning that we did. But yeah, it's football, and look, as I said, it's difficult to find reasons for what is happening right now to us. I don't remember in 7.5 seasons this team losing 3 games in a row, and yeah, it just looks everything is going in the wrong way right now.
As you said, City don't lose this many games in a row, and you've never been really in this position. Does that make it hard to know how to react to it?
Well, the good thing is that even though we lost these 3 games, we're still in good position, especially in the Premier League and in the Champions League. So we haven't lost anything, even though after losing 3 games, we're still in the main competitions. We're still fighting for everything. But yeah, we need to do better. Obviously, we need to do better. Our injured players need to come back because we need them, and it's just not good enough at the minute.
Yeah.
Okay, Bernardo Silva there speaking with Becky.
Don't win the amount of trophies they've won over the period of time they've been there without having a bit of steel and metal behind the scenes. So to react to this situation, I think won't be a problem. It's just how quickly they can do it. That will be the defining factor for the season. You can't afford to let moments like this go on for too long, because the other teams are too good and they're too relentless in picking up points for you to be able to catch up.
Yeah, okay guys, when we come back after the break, we're hoping to hear from both managers, Rúben Amorim. Okay, there we go, Pep Guardiola speaking to Becky Eyes. Why don't we get some reaction pitch side as well from our trio and commentary too.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. I mean, we were listening to that, intrigued by what Pep Guardiola has said, and I think you think that's a really
I liked the
clear
interview.
assessment there.
I tell you what, as poor as the second half performance was, I thought the interview was excellent. I really did. He's up for it. Could tell right away, disappointed. Sounded a little bit shocked, which is no bad thing, because I tell you, I was stunned at the level of defending the performance second half. But the one thing came out of that interview for me, he's got his sleeves rolled up and he's ready to march on.
Yeah, that was what stood out for me. There was a bit of fight to that, and a bit of reality from the Manchester City manager.
Listen, the thing about him is he loves solving problems. He's got one, So, and he will turn it around. But that tonight reminded me of the team we used to be before we won the Champions League, where we'd get to a knockout thing, and then we'd just fall apart in a game. For the first half an hour, it was like a training game, and then you have to give credit to Sporting, because whatever the other fella said at half time, they came out like men possessed, and they took the game away from us. Saying that, Haaland scores the penalty to make it 3-2. You never know, but I thought Sporting deserved to win, and we deserve what we got, really.
You've been a manager, so how do you break down that tonight? Noel's just made the point, for half an hour it was relatively easy for Manchester City, albeit only with a 1-goal lead. Second half, completely different. A lot of uncharacteristic moments from Manchester City. Injuries to the defence, so he got players playing tonight who ordinarily wouldn't play. So therefore, how do you assess what's happened over 90 minutes
If I'm
tonight?
Pep tonight, that's my concern. Not losing 3 games in a row. You look at Bournemouth played well, they could have equalised late on. The loss at Spurs in the Cup, that can happen. First half, everything was seemingly going according to plan. The thing that would concern Pep, if I'm Pep, is the level of second half performance defensively and the concentration levels. That you got to look at the second goal was a brilliant goal. You know how much I enjoy watching Phil Foden. Can Galvez on the left hand side, beautiful move, great movement, attacked, released the ball to Araujo, wonderful finish. That can happen also. What would have stunned him a little bit was the level of defending for the 2 pairs. Defender, Guardiola, Akanji's there. If he's got goal side here, just let him go. Other one, substitute comes on, it's a penalty. They were just uncharacteristic. They have struggled, and we mentioned before the game, we didn't fancy them to keep a clean sheet. I couldn't see that coming, but I fancied Sporting Lisbon to score. But the way that they kind of disintegrated almost second half defensively would be a concern. Let's not get carried away. 3 defeats in a row. The defeat at Bournemouth, I think, was the first league defeat in 10, 11 months. So we need to hold fire a little bit, but the second half performance stunned me.
He's got to put it right now against good teams, particularly domestically. It's a tea time game on Saturday at Brighton. He's got Tottenham and he's got Liverpool at Anfield. In the middle of that, they've got Feyenoord in the Champions League. So he's got difficult games coming up to right the wrongs of tonight.
Yep, that's the game, that's his job, that's the players' jobs. I'm sure, when they get back to Manchester and they do the video reviews and all that, they'll point out what went wrong. But the defending for the penalties was, that's as worse as I've seen Guardiola. The challenge for that was, and Nunez's challenge on the other fella was ridiculous. But look, Sporting, let's give them the credit tonight. Yeah. But we're not a lot of City fans up there will have thought we were going to come here and win tonight. I go every week, I stand on the terraces, I know what the chat is. You know, we know we're not in a great place at the moment, but no one's going to panic. You know, we won 4 leagues in a row. We're going to ride this out. We'll be there in the shake-up at the end.
Yeah. The other thing that probably surprised me was the lack of substitutions, and then perhaps the substitution of Kevin De Bruyne at the end. I wasn't really sure. I was expecting to see maybe changes earlier. That didn't happen. I'd like to have heard Pep's explanation on that. He obviously will have one, and then maybe he just wanted De Bruyne to get 5 or 10 minutes, but putting him on at that stage, I didn't see the need for it really. But Noel's 100% right. We've got to be talking about Sporting Lisbon this evening. Rúben Amorim, what a way to sign off here. Fantastic.
Ali, thank you, Noel. It's been great having you with us on the team.
Well, I won't be coming again if that's the
That's
result.
right. Even though the phone's going mad, everybody said it's his fault, because when it's me and Ali, they tend to win. Noel joins us and they lose like that. It's been quite a memorable night, though, Laura. Amorim signing off, lap of honour with his players after sensational night for Sporting Lisbon, but so much to talk about from a Manchester City perspective.
Absolutely is. I imagine they're going to be mulling over that with a couple of drinks, and we will do this in the studio too now as well, because I just want your final thoughts on City, really. The next game, Brighton away, and obviously at the moment we're really focusing on this 3 games in a row loss and what Bernardo Silva was saying about it being a dark time. City are the kind of team that can turn it around very quickly. They are missing quite a few players too. It's not all doom and gloom yet, is it?
No, there's nothing won here at this stage of the season. So, yeah, it's not a great time. But I'm sure if they went to Brighton on the weekend and won 3 or 4-0, no one's going to be that surprised. So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult game, but I'm sure they're confident.
It's interesting listening to what they were saying as well about how we're so used to seeing this team win, and those players probably are so used to winning too. Does it get kind of almost uncomfortable knowing how to lose?
Yeah, I think as a player, you just have to go back to basics. You have to strip it back and what was the fundamentals that we were kind of just living and dying by when we were being successful and we were winning. Get back to that as quick as you can. Keep doing simple things, do your simple things well, and you know that if you get your chances and you get your best players in their best positions to score goals, more often than not, the Haalands, the Kevin De Bruyne's, the Fodens, etc., are going to dispatch and score goals and get you back on track. So I don't think they've got a lot to panic about with the quality they've got in that dressing room and the experience, and most importantly.
The stunning story of the night is this scoreline in Lisbon this evening. Sporting 4, Manchester City 1. Clinton, you watched it. 3 defeats in a row for Manchester City. That's not happened for 6 years under Pep Guardiola. Their heaviest defeat in 4 years. I think the headline writers will be getting ready. There'll be talk of crisis, maybe. Is it too early for that?
Nah, there's no crisis. I don't think the crisis. I think the Carabao Cup game against Tottenham, he had left Haaland on the bench, and when he came out after, he said his team played well. I think the Bournemouth performance, yeah, you are worried that they're a bit open, but I wouldn't say there's a crisis at Man City. Tonight, this could have been a different scoreline. In the first half, you have to take your chances. When you're on top, take your chances. But they are far too open. We highlighted that at the start of the programme, and they are too open. They go forward, they dominate possession, and then they just leave their defenders like one-on-one at the back and think they can deal with it. Well, they had a striker who's in fantastic form, Gyökeres, and that's what he's all about, is his pace and his strength, and he caused them all kinds of problems. But I wouldn't be pressing the panic button just as yet. They had no Diaz, no Stones, so I wouldn't be worried about Man City at the moment. But I can understand why going to Sporting and losing 4-1, they'll be disappointed. But if they take their chances, Jules, it's a different football match.
I wonder what the Manchester United fans make of what they've seen tonight in Rúben Amorim, but they just can't wait for him to arrive next week now.
Yeah, they can't, but do they have a Gyökeres who can score? Because he was the difference between the two teams. They do have Rasmus Højlund, who's a very good striker. So, yeah, he's got a lot to work with. But remember, he's built this team, Sporting. Man United fans can't expect him to go in there and hit the ground running straight away. That's going to take time. That is a project there at Sporting that he's built for himself, and there's going to be a project at Man United. So, yeah, Man United fans will be happy because it's a rivalry with Man City. But, yeah, he's a good manager, and I think I've always said it's a good appointment. And they were brilliant, Sporting, in the second half. I thought first half they showed Man City too much respect. The stadium was quiet, but second half, scoring just after half-time, 20 seconds, is a great start. And, yeah, they caused a lot of problems, and they got some good players, to be fair. I'd be surprised if he don't go back to his old club, maybe in the summer, to try and get a few of these players. But they thoroughly deserved the victory in that second half.
Yeah, and the first goals that City have conceded in the Champions League this season. You're very adamant that any talk of a crisis will be very, very premature, but it is 3 defeats in a row.
No, but Jules, I know...
No, let me finish.
Yeah.
They go to Brighton at the weekend.
Yeah.
Then after the internationals, they've got Spurs, Feyenoord and Liverpool away.
So you
How
think...
does he get them through this spell?
But this is the problem. People, I've heard it many a times, when City lose a couple of games, it's a crisis. So they've still got the best manager in the world. You think he's not been at other clubs and managed at this level for so many years to say it's a crisis?
Yeah, but we're not used to seeing City losing 4-1 away in the Champions League.
Yeah, you're not used to it, but it shouldn't have been a 4-1. I'm watching the game.
But it is.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it's not a 4-1 result. It's not a 4-1 result. Defensively, yeah, they've not been good enough, but going forward, they've missed chances. If Haaland scores, it's 3-2. It's a different game. The penalty, it gives them momentum. The good thing about it is they've got De Bruyne, who's come off the bench tonight. Yeah, it is worrying times that they're open, and we saw it against Bournemouth, that there are a lot of chances, but I know the headline makers will be saying it, but speak to me at the end of the season and I still say City will win a lot of trophies this season, but it is a bit of a worrying time, the way they're conceding so much.
18 seconds after the restart they conceded.
Yeah, it's nowhere near good enough. Defensively, nowhere near good enough, but we said it at the start. When you take a player out like Rodri out of Man City's team, they're going to struggle. Tom's played against him. He does all their defensive duty, snuffs out danger, and he's a big present for them in there. Tonight they've had Kovacic. When they dominate possession, Kovacic is very good in there. Listen, it's a bad result for Man City, but I wouldn't be pressing the panic button just as yet at the moment. I know they've lost the last 3 games, but I wouldn't. But yeah, this is not good. And you can understand the headline makers will be saying City are in like free fall, but I don't think they'll be in free fall. They'll bounce back on the weekend.
72% possession, Manchester City had the chances. And, of course, if Haaland scores that penalty, Clinton, when there was still, 20 minutes or so to go and it's 3-2...
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a different game. Listen, I totally get what you're saying when you're saying about you go away from home and you concede 4 goals. It is poor. But they do have a youngster that was playing at the back with Akanji today, who did really well in that position as well. But, yeah, it's just they leave them too open. This reminds me of when I used to see Liverpool, when Trent and Robertson went there. But the difference is they had Van Dijk and they had Konate there, or whoever it was, Gomez, and they could deal with the 2-on-2 situation. I think it's different here with Man City when you don't have the likes of Diaz and Stones. It is a struggle, so... Yeah,
but I guess my point is it's unfamiliar territory. We're not used to Manchester City losing at Bournemouth. We're not used to seeing them get thumped away in a Champions League game. And I'm just interested to know, they're up facing adversity, which we never really see from Manchester City. How do they now react to that in the next few weeks?
Well, they have to react to it, because if not, we're going to keep talking about it. So you're right. You're right to highlight it, because it's not good enough conceding 4 goals. But the one thing they have, and Gaz will tell you, they've got the best manager there is in world football. So he won't press the panic button. He won't come out. Inside, they'll be disappointed. But he's never going to come out in the media and say, we're struggling, we're low on confidence. Every time his team loses, he'll always come out and say, we played well. He'll say it again tonight, because in the first half, they were the better team. If they're more ruthless, they take their chances. He won't say it about the second half, because they were nowhere near it second half, Man City. So that's why I feel like they'll be all right, because they've got the best manager, and he's been in these situations before. Maybe not many times, because he's always winning things. But there's a blip in the road, but they'll turn it around. But you have to ask those questions, because if you don't ask those questions, you're not doing your job.
And you're doing your job by shouting at me and making your point. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine.